Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So Bitcoin has seen a pretty massive recovery since rejecting off the 2025 downtrend last Sunday and going as low as 81,000. The price has since recovered back above 85k just last night, and begging the question, will this bounce from Bitcoin continue, and was it enough to flip the narrative on the charts? Let's dive into the video today to talk about the recent price action, upcoming economic news, and find out. As always, before we dive in, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And sign up to my Telegram channel for more regular updates. If you're a trader and you're interested in my VIP channel, be sure to message me on Telegram to get more details. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Alright guys, so before we dive into our analysis, let's talk about the recent price action. So in my last video, things weren't looking all that great for Bitcoin, right? We were just breaking down from our major monthly uptrend of here on the short time frame as we approach the huge level of resistance that exists at our 2025 downtrend, this larger upper black trend line over here, right? And as we broke down from that uptrend as well as short time frame support at 86,000, we saw a tumble right down to the very first bearish target that we set in the last video from 81.5 to 81,000. Now, as we approach that level of support, Bitcoin actually managed a bounce, right? As we can see right here, we broke out of the 4-hour downtrend on the RSI, so momentum flipped bullish at that level of support, and we have so far bounced to around $85,000, and that is also where the current daily candle close has happened as well. Now, if we take a look at market liquidations, we can see shorts grew in liquidations over the last 2 days, about 130 million yesterday, and the day before that 100 million. And right now, shorts and long liquidations have actually been pretty equal over the last 48 hours. And if we take a look at the price action, it's pretty indicative of what is happening. We're basically chopping right now between these two major levels of support and resistance and sort of approaching a period of indecision and inconclusive price action, right? So we're going to dive into the video today to talk about what's going to signal conclusive breakouts from Bitcoin and whether or not we're going to see a continued bullish move on the short time frame here for Bitcoin, as well as upcoming economic data. So in 2 days time, on Friday the 4th of April, for those of us in Australia at 10:30 at night, we have non-farm payrolls coming out, right? And non-farm payrolls is a pretty good indicator for how the economy is going. So generally when non-farm payrolls is high, that means a lot of jobs are being created and the economy is going very well. And conversely, if NFP comes out lower than expected or just low in general, not a lot of jobs are being created, right? So it signals for economic downturn and can sometimes lead to a decline in interest rates. So last time we had NFP come out at 151,000, and that was actually a little bit lower than forecast at 160. And if we take a look at S&P 500 at that time, we did see a little bit of a drop. That's around this time here, right? And same thing for Bitcoin. That was around this time over here at 10 o'clock at night on the 7th of March. So that was a bearish reaction, a pretty clear bearish reaction as a result of bearish NFP data. And this time around, the forecasts are pretty conservative. They're sitting at 128,000. Oh, sorry, they're sitting at 80,000, and the consensus is 128. So it might not have much of an impact on the market at all, but it also might have a fair amount of impact, right? So it's definitely something to be looking out for over the next 2 days, and sort of, I guess, taking a slightly more risk-averse nature when it comes to trading or positions, just because of this news coming out and the lack of being able to predict what news is when it comes out. And of course, that will have an impact on the next FOMC meeting as well. So that's over a month away, but it'll be interesting to see how that's perceived into the probabilities for rate cuts or stagnation in the future as well. So keeping all of that in mind, sort of factoring into the current uncertainty and indecision in the market right now, let's take a look at how that's being represented on the short time frame charts. So here on the 4-hour time frame, just as I spoke about before, we can see a very clear level of current horizontal support, right, sitting at 81 to 81.5 thousand, being the current bounce point and that prior low in the uptrend. And a very clear level of horizontal resistance, right, being the rejection point at the 2025 downtrend on Sunday or last weekend, and the smaller rejection point over here, right? So we have a clear horizontal upper level. Now, taking a look at that, If we want to answer the question, was the recent bounce here at 81,000 enough to flip the narrative of the charts? The answer is quite simply then no, right? Because we weren't able to, in this bounce, just yet anyways, break above the first sort of change of character level, the first prior high in the current downtrend here for Bitcoin, right? So until we manage to do that, the bounce is at the moment just a bounce, just a, I guess, sort of a blip, right? And all it currently tells us is that for the time being, as we've established a short time frame level of support, Bitcoin should not continue lower unless we break down from that support, right? Unless the buyers at this level completely exhaust, meaning that we see a complete close below the base of that support there at $81.1 thousand, we should continue to remain above this level, right? Support is support until it's not. But until we manage to break above the first change of character level on these charts, right, above the prior high, the current state of Bitcoin is still very much, like we said, indecisive. So if we actually want to see proper decisive price action for Bitcoin, either that's going to look like a break above the current resistance and first change of character level, so therefore flipping the charts to being bullish, or a breakdown of current support, right, at 81,000. And either of those scenarios have both either short time frame bullish or short time frame bearish consequences. So let's talk about the first target in either scenario. So in the short time frame bullish case scenario, if we're able to break above resistance and buy side liquidity here at 88.8 thousand, the first target takes us to the next level of resistance at 91 to 92,000. And we can see it really easily on both the daily and the 12-hour time frames. And it was a massive level of support throughout the November and February period, right, between 2024 and 2025. And so that would be obviously a huge move for Bitcoin as we go on to retrace sort of really macro significant levels. And on the 12-hour chart, if we take a look at the break there, we actually do have quite a significant volume gap taking us right up into that level, right? If we zoom out just a little bit to take in the relevant data, we can see here pushing above 88,000, we enter a volume gap that ends right here at around 92,000, taking us right up into that next liquidity zone of resistance. Now, what the break above 88,000 would also mean is that Bitcoin would go on to also break above the 2025 downtrend, right? So essentially flipping the both short time frame charts to trigger a bullish narrative to 91,000, but also flipping these higher time frame charts as well, right? So while the recent bounce has not been really enough yet to flip the narrative for Bitcoin, we've essentially created, or the market has essentially created, this sort of secondary opportunity where if we continue to retain 81,000 as that base of support and chop between these levels, eventually resulting in a breakout here of 88,000, the high time frame and short time frame narratives both flip to being bullish, right? So while it's not essentially a big deal in terms of seeing a breakout right now, it is a big deal overall in terms of the macro scale and preventing further breakdowns in the price action. Just like I said in my last video though, if we continue to reject off that 2025 downtrend and we lose our current level of short time frame support, things will once again continue to look bearish for Bitcoin, right? We're still within that current downtrend. So in losing 81,000 and falling back down towards 76,000, only range low for our prior short time frame uptrend, what that would also mean for Bitcoin on the 3-day time frame is a drop below the Gaussian channel, which has historically been quite a bearish indicator for the high time frame. And also on the weekly chart, we will also likely lose the 50 EMA as well, right? Which has once again historically been a really crucial indicator in terms of high time frame, either macro bullish or bearish trajectories. So the 50 EMA currently sits at around $77.8 thousand, and again sort of stresses the fact that a movement towards the range low is really not what we want. Alrighty guys, that is a wrap on the analysis today. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. If you guys liked the video or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And join my free Telegram channel for more regular updates. If you're a trader and you're interested in my VIP channel, don't forget to contact me on Telegram for more details. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!